time it is. It's that official time. Where we take this worldwide. Let's go. Listen. So now it's time to turn it up. Surf the radio waves as we begin to burn it up. We all up in your area like landscape, definitely bringing you the Powerslam pancakes. It's a mandate that you tune in. It's time to move out so we can move in and recognize that this is no illusion. I'm here to clear the air so that there is no confusion. It all started off in the book of Genesis when Jacob was wrestling with who he thought was his nemesis. And when the man saw he couldn't overpower him, he touched his hip but he really couldn't devour him. And from that point, then we hear a name change, rearrange the game, so now we gotta change lanes. So I'm here to let you know it's time to listen to the Pancake and Powerslam show. Let's go! Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam show. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam show. Turn it up.
What's going on, everybody? No, I'm not crying. I just yawned because I'm tired. Hey, this is Dr. Chris Featherstone. Indeed, episode 462. I'm way off. 462, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Pancakes and Powerslams show. We are live and living, color and funky like among you if you will, baby. Yeah, this is what we do, baby. Yeah. All right, so look. We got the PNP Nation in here strong. I just like I say before, during the countdown. If you make it to the countdown, I'll go ahead and show you some love and show your comment during the countdown intro. So Benjamin got some love, Elvis got some love, Josh got some love, Christopher got some love, and now I'm gonna give more people some love. Aaron, what's up, man? You put the intro music over for Unscripted's interview with my good buddy Greg Gagne. So yeah, I'm a big music guy, as you know. I'm a DJ, so I'm a big fan of music, good music. I listen to CHH and a lot of CEDM and jazz and chill hop, man. Like this, that's my daily routine of music consumption. Yes, and Bill Air won. I popped for that. I was, the Royal Rumble's okay for me. But Bianca Belair winning was the best thing in 2021 so far to me, wrestling wise. I was a big fan of that. I actually predicted her to win. On a former, let me see, an article that I wrote last year, I predicted Bianca Belair to win. So back July 21st, I had Bianca Belair winning the Royal Rumble. Yep. You don't believe me, and if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you. All right. I had Charlotte beating Asuka at the Royal Rumble, and I actually had Bianca Belair winning the Royal Rumble match July of last year. So don't tell me I didn't predict this a long time ago, and I'm going to show you. Actually, it's an article I wrote July the 21st, 2020. So all the way back in July, I'm going to show you that I have Bianca Belair winning the Royal Rumble match, and I'm about to show it right here. All right. Here we go. July 21st, 2020. All right. Number 4, Bianca Belair wins WWE Royal Rumble match. There you go. Bianca Belair undoubtedly checks all the boxes of a star in WWE: the entrance music, the charisma, the promo, and the athleticism. Certainly gives Belair that it factor that WWE should capitalize on. While in NXT, Belair was a featured competitor, which actually gave her an NXT Women's Championship match at NXT TakeOver Phoenix during Royal Rumble weekend 2019, and a very impressive showing in the 2020 Royal Rumble match. In fact, Belair set a Royal Rumble elimination record, ousting 8 women. 2021 should be an opportunity to trump her past Royal Rumble achievements by winning the match altogether. WWE needs to capitalize on the popularity of Belair by placing the proverbial rocket on her back and not holding back on a babyface push for her. To further gain babyface momentum, Belair should be between the 10th and 15th entrant, which would keep her fresh. She was 3. But still allow her to stay in the match for enough time to build steam and get supported by the fans. There were no fans, but they still made it work. Ideally, define the odds by defeating a monster heel such as Nia Jax in the end would help further her. This will also make her win not as predictable, since Jax would have some unfinished business with Flair as well, and this could have been emphasized on commentary to make Belair look more like an underdog. So there were some variations of how she won, but at the same time, I predicted her to win the Royal Rumble last summer, ladies and gentlemen. Take that. So there you go. And so I was super happy that she won. I think I responded to the tweet, Elvis, unless you sent me another one. When is Alexa Bliss going back to normal? She does during her matches, right? Terrible. Not a big fan of it. Huge. What else? How many times I interviewed Greg Gagne? Oh my goodness. You enjoyed the Rumble, Paul? Yeah. I mean, she's Charlotte Flair, you know. Yeah. She can lose 5 matches and it'd be fine. What's up, Chad? What's up, Corey? I agree, Aaron. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. I think the Royal Rumble wasn't bad at all. I wasn't a fan of Edge. Reigns and Owens was phenomenal. A phenomenal match. Sasha and Carmella was decent. Women's Royal Rumble was fantastic. I mean, I will continue to put that over. The Women's Royal Rumble match was absolutely amazing. That was the best match. I would say, as far as poignancy, I would say that's the most poignant match since Kofi Kingston winning in my opinion at least, that's the most poignant match since Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship. I was a big fan. I loved the match. The match was exciting. It was good to see. I mean, I kept saying, like, over the years, I was like, when in the world is Victoria coming back as a surprise entrant? Because all the Women's Royal Rumbles and the Evolution and all that, when is Victoria coming back? And finally she came back. I was like, oh, finally. But they gave her the wrong music, though. I guess that was probably a money thing, but that wasn't her best music by far. I ain't the lady to mess with. I'm going to go with my bad self. That was by far Victoria's best theme song. But, you know, that was rapped by Nicki Minaj. So I'd imagine there's probably some type of rights dealing with it. Although it's a WWE song, but, you know, I imagine that there might be some Nicki Minaj would have to there's probably, you know, she's huge now as opposed to 15 years ago. So, you know, it's a whole different vein now. So I'd imagine that's there's probably some type of rights, something. So that's probably why she didn't get the same music. But I wish she would have had that music. That was her best music for sure. Stop it with your anorexic pocket. Let's see. Alma, what's up? Great to have you as always. Let's see what else you got. How many times did I interview Greg Gagne? Oh goodness. A lot. A lot. I mean, a whole lot. Let's see. Let me find out. I don't even. Let's see. Pancakes and Powerslams. Trying to find out where. How many times I interviewed him? Episode 183, episode 294. So 2017, 2015, and then again a few weeks later. I'll probably say about five. Probably about 5 times now. Yeah, about 5 times now. Maybe more, but I think at least 5. A lot. He's one of my most interviewed people. Is Greg Gagne. Very nice guy. Very, very nice guy. We get along very well. How many articles do I write for SK? I don't write any now. I am the senior analyst, so everything that I do for SK is podcast related. So I have basically semi-retired from journalism. I wrote I was a journalist for so long. I paid my dues, and now I'm the Stephen A. Smith of pro wrestling commentary because I've earned my stripes. I've written 1,000 articles, easy 1,000. I would say most likely way more than that, but at least 1,000 articles over the past decade. So, and that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of articles that I've written over the past decade. And so for me, pick your site I've written for them. So, yeah, many articles. And so, my contribution in the pro wrestling world, writing for many sites, including freelancing for Sports Illustrated and Fox Sports in my time. That's on a resume for me now to be solely a commentator and a podcaster and an interviewer. My whole wrestling income comes from interviewing people every week. I can't think of a better dream job when it comes to wrestling than that. I'm not under the WWE, suffocation of having to say things. You got to say this. You can't say this. You got to be short. Not under that. I literally every single week roast Raw with Vince Russo and interview. I have my own show, another show with Vince Russo, recapping former events, and I interview a set of people. The past month, I've been interviewing Chris Masters. Before that was JTG. Before that was Jacques Rougeau for 5 weeks. Before that was JTG. And then after Masters, this is the last week with Masters. Next week, we start another set of 5 weeks interviewing another good friend, very legend in the pro wrestling business. We'll be announcing that soon. So, that's what I do. I literally roast Raw on Mondays, have a Q&A on Tuesdays, and then have a few interviews more throughout the week. That's what's writing 1,000+ articles over the past decade has led me, and all the sites that I've written for. It's led me a decade later to have a job that I cannot. I literally can't. I can't be enough thankful. I can't express it. That's the reason I'm so speechless. I can't express it enough of how much I love what I do. Because it's a dream job. It's easy. I literally interview people and get paid for it. What I think of the Rumble overall, the Men's Royal Rumble, wasn't a big fan of. Women's Royal Rumble was a lot better than the Men's Royal Rumble. Women's Royal Rumble was fantastic. I will continue to put the Women's Royal Rumble over. It was awesome. Never been a big fan of Tori, but it was still good to see her back. And it wasn't like the wheelhouse of the normals. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't bring back the typical Molly Holly, although I love Molly Holly, but we usually get the Molly Hollies, the Kelly Kellys. You know what I mean? Like, we usually get them, but it was cool to see Tori, and it was cool to see Victoria. It was really, really cool to see Victoria's surprise entrance. I think that was a really good choice. The next person I want to see as a surprise entrant is Jackie Moore. So that would be pretty cool. I popped when Christian came back, because when he's a babyface, I'm always a Christian mark when he's a babyface. I've always liked Christian more than Edge. Never been an Edge guy, and every time Christian's a babyface, I'm a huge fan. So it was cool to see Carlito back too. But actually, Carlito was the person I heard was coming back. So I was asked last week, who's coming back. I was asked to tip the hat of who is coming back, and I said I've interviewed him before. That was actually my hint, that I've interviewed him before, and I've interviewed Carlito before. So that was who I was talking about. So I knew Carlito was coming back. So thoughts on Lars Sullivan release today, and thoughts on why WWE fans hate him so much because of his past. Daniel, I think that's a good question. I don't even think it's necessarily a past thing. It's one of those things that if you legitimately feel regretful about a season of your life, a thing that you've done, things like that, that's one thing. But it's another thing to show shades and show dispositions that you haven't really changed. And so there's been some things within Lars that is shown that wasn't necessarily like a seasonal thing, and he's regretted and things like that. And so, yeah, he's a lot of people aren't really giving him a pass because it seems like he hasn't really changed from that. Now, his sexual stuff, I mean, that's I can't, that's something not worth commenting on, but that's something not worth commenting on. There's no need for me to share my personal views on that. But when it comes to the comments and the history that he had with the comment boards and things like that, it doesn't show that there's a difference. It doesn't show that there's like some type that he's learned from the experience. And so that's why people aren't as forgiving to Lars Sullivan. And yeah, I don't blame him. Gabe, what's up, my man? Absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Of course I prefer the fans. The Royal Rumble, the fans need the Royal Rumble needs fans more than any other pay-per-view. The Royal Rumble is the biggest fan interactive pay-per-view and of the year. So, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, I went nuts too. It was great. It was awesome. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Let's see. Pop in, say hey. What's up, Marissa? I just want to pop in and say, hey, love that Edge won the Rumble. Best match tonight was Reigns was on. Can say tonight really tired and needed rest on today. Get you some rest, Marissa. Thanks for popping in. As always, you're such a great support, Marissa. Big shout out to Marissa. I think Sting win the street fight, and I will say, look, I will say this. I was very hesitant, and I shared this past weekend. I was very hesitant to Sting being AEW. I was like, I said the jury's still out. Actually, that's what I said verbatim. I said the jury is still out on how I feel about Sting. I'm not like really marking out for it, but I said the jury's still out. Okay. So far, I'm actually very impressed with how AEW is using Sting. He's not just being thrown into matches. He's not just being randomly thrown out there for no apparent reason. There's a reason for him being there. It's not, and I was having this conversation this past weekend. What's so good about Sting being in AEW right now? So far, what they have him booked at right now, what they've been doing, is that Sting, he is not being subservient to a newer star. See, that's the thing with the legends. Either they play kind of second fiddle to a younger star, or they just don't put them over at all. I think they can be utilized for both. Like, for instance, when Mickie James came back and she was like Alexa Bliss's lackey, that was terrible, absolutely terrible. As much of a legend as Mickie James is, coming back as the lackey of Alexa Bliss, what in the world is that all about? But one thing when they brought in Sting, it was awesome when they brought him back. Survivor Series. And then the build-up for Triple H was good. I actually was a big fan of the Triple H Sting feud as far as the build-up is concerned, because it was a definitive heel. If it was Sting Taker, there wouldn't have been no definitive heel. It really would have shrouded Sting of coming back, of making his first return. His first debut. Sting's never been in the WWE. And to debut Sting, just to have him go against Taker, would have significantly taken away the luster of Sting finally making it to the WWE. So I was actually happy that Sting versus Taker didn't happen right off the bat. I think Sting versus Triple H was a perfect feud for him. But it just went south when Triple H won. And Triple H won for the sake of using Sting as a pawn for Triple H versus Rock the next year, which never happened. So that whole Sting, as much as a company guy, as much as a fair guy that Sting is, he had to be upset with how he was used in WWE. He was used so poorly in WWE. And I've said this before. I wasn't even tripping. I wasn't even upset about Sting losing to Rollins. That's not. I don't have an issue with that. That's a good way to put Rollins over. But did you really put Rollins over knowing that WWE really, really misused Sting? He only had like that one win against the Big Show, and then they changed it to a tag match. I think it was him and Cena, and which one on Raw. And so Sting has 0 pay-per-view wins, in WWE. 0-2 in pay-per-view, his pay-per-view history. So, just totally misused Sting. It was just terrible. And so I'm glad, there's a piece of me that's like, I want Sting back in the WWE because, I want him to have some redemption. I still want to see Sting versus Seth Rollins at Mania. Just because, but I'm pretty settled on the fact that Sting would probably, be completely done with wrestling after his AEW contract's up. So I don't see him coming back to WWE unless he comes back a few years later for a 2K game. And I mean, Taker's done. And so Sting Taker, you can take that away. And so Sting's in a, they're protecting Sting because he's in a tag match. And so I like it. I mean, I'm cool with it, man. I do. I think it's a really good way to use Sting. It's using the namesake of Sting to draw interest, and it's not making Sting look like an idiot. And it's not having him take the spot of a younger guy. And as a matter of fact, it is substantially giving a good opportunity and giving the rub to Darby Allin. Because Darby was cool as TV champ or television TNT champ, but now he's getting the Sting rub. I mean, Darby Allin looks like an upper mid card, mega talent now, and that's because he's getting the Sting rub, and he's getting over because of Sting. So Sting didn't have to beat him. He didn't have to beat Sting. That stuff doesn't really put you over anymore. Like that doesn't put you over. When you beat someone who's been a dominant name, who's had a really good streak, and you ended the streak or you won, that puts you over. But for the sake of just beating a legend, that doesn't put anyone over anymore. I mean, that was over that ended a long time ago when legends are now back for the purpose of putting people over, like Goldberg, for instance. He didn't put Braun over losing. He put Braun over more than Drew, but the loss against Taker and, it's just like, you expected him to win. You expected Braun to win. And then he definitely didn't put over Drew. And again, Goldberg is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He's in my top 10. But he didn't really put Drew over. I mean, like, WWE's really misusing him. They're really using him in the sense of his namesake. Like, that doesn't work anymore. Just bringing someone in who has a name and saying, okay, we're going to have you lose against this, like, that just doesn't work anymore. And so that's what Goldberg has been doing. But Sting, though, he didn't have to wrestle. He's coming in, he's cutting promos, he's making Darby look good. He's being kind of like the big brother type of uncle figure, Uncle Sting, Uncle Steve. Still looks good. That's the good thing about Sting. He's an evergreen character. You don't see his age because he has the paint, and so he can be 80 years old as long as he is in decent shape. It's great because he wears paint, so he's like Wolverine. He just doesn't age. So I think it's fantastic. That's one thing about Sting, man. That regardless of beyond the paint, he'll be 62 years old next month, and so at basically 62 years old, just the thought of why in the world is a 62-year-old man wrestling in a match? I don't care if you call it street fight or not. He's 62. He'll be basically, next month he'll be 62 years old. Why in the world is a 62-year-old man fighting? Because Sting, with his character, was able to protect his character enough to make it last this long. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's phenomenal, man. I really do. I think it's absolutely phenomenal, man. Good stuff. He's like 6 years older than Taker, and is still doing his thing, man. That's why he's the GOAT to me. He's my favorite. Why are people so upset with about Edge winning? Okay, we'll go Goldberg in a championship match, and I love Goldberg. Yeah, I kind of addressed it. I mean, Russo and I talked about it. Go to the post-Raw show, Vince Russo and I. It's on my Facebook page. It's on Sports Kita's SK Wrestling's YouTube page too, and Facebook page. Yeah, just go there. I think me and Vince did a really good job explaining this. You know, you got so many people in the back that bust their butts all year through COVID and things like that, and want that opportunity. I think Goldberg just wrestling in a title match just to lose is much different than Edge winning the entire Royal Rumble. You know, like coming in as number one and winning the entire Royal Rumble. It's kind of a slap in the face when it saying not only it would be one thing if you came in as like 27, 28, 29 or whatever. But you came in as number one and you outlasted the entire current roster. Yikes. I do remember Greg Gagne wrestling High Flyers. I was a big AWA fan back in the day. Absolutely. I haven't written 1,000 articles for SK. I've only written like 100 and some articles for SK. But I've been writing since I've been writing for about 10 years now. So for Sports Kita, I've only written 100 and some articles, but 128 articles for Sports Kita. But I've written articles and hundreds of articles in other sites throughout the time that I've been a journalist. So yeah, I've written over 1,000 altogether. Where do you find these interviews? Pancakes and Powerslams audio. Just type in Pancakes and Powerslams. You'll be able to pick up Blog Talk Radio. As when I was doing an audio. I stopped doing an audio last year, just because I really didn't feel like keeping track of all. I'm just way too busy to keep track of all that stuff. So if you want the audio, download this podcast and make an MP3 so you can listen to the audio that way. But as far as finding the interviews, just type in you can I still think it's on Spotify actually. So you can listen to all of my interviews. You can listen to all of my interviews on Spotify until last week. Till last month. Last year, August. Trying to pull this up here. Yeah, August 4th was the last one that came up on Spotify. So I'm actually about to put the show link. So it has all of my episodes until last August 4th on Spotify. So I'm about to put the link up on here. So I interviewed a lot of people, man. Chris Rayner, Dr. Chris Rayner, Shane Taylor, PCO, Crowbar, Steve Blackman, Saul Ronaldo, DDP, Ice Train, Ken Doan, D-Lo, Bear Horowitz, Sid Vicious, Kid Cash. Oh, I'm gonna contact him again, see what he's up to. Brian Cage, multiple times. Kim Johnson, Mark Haskins, Black Bart a bunch of times. Y'all know about Black Bart. Rico, Marty Elias, Bill Dundee, Sean Hernandez, Nick Patrick. Eric Bischoff, Elijah Burke, Eddie Kingston, PN News, Ice Train. Mike Knox, Gene Snitsky, Chris Masters, Raka Khan, Flip Gordon, Sean Stasiak, George South. Yeah, I'm going to go back to George. I'm going to contact George South. Man, George South. I'm glad I looked at that. I'm about to message George South right now, actually. I'm messaging George South right now. How about George South? My man George South. That's the link to listen to the interviews. Yes, Aaron. I was sharing this weekend. It is a pain to watch Raw. I mean, it is an absolute pain to watch Raw. I cannot stand watching Raw. It's tough because I'm on my streak. I'm watching WWE in honor of my my late grandma. When she passed in 1995, I was watching wrestling, for about 10 years before that. And when she passed in 95, I said, you know what? In honor of her, I'm going to continue watching wrestling. And I stay watching wrestling. I've never stopped watching wrestling ever since the mid 80s. I've never stopped watching wrestling past 35 years. Never stop. Sometimes people have their spurts where they stop watching it for a couple years or so and they come back. Nope. I have watched wrestling straight through for at least 35 years. And in 1995, when my great grandma passed, I said she got me into watching wrestling. She was a huge wrestling mark, and it was awesome. She loved watching wrestling, and she passed away going to my freshman year of high school. And yeah, it was tough for me, toughest thing in my life. And I said, you know what? In honor of my great grandma, I'm going to maintain watching pro wrestling. And that was in 95, and I haven't stopped watching. I actually made a living watching wrestling now. I turned it into pay, which is awesome. I'm sure she'd be happy about that. But now it's tough. It's tough. It's tough watching Raw. Man, it's tough. And it is a pain watching Raw. And so thankfully I can roast it with my man Vince Russo. Good question, Chad. If I was seriously asked to become Booker for Raw SmackDown, would I take the opportunity? No, I wouldn't actually. Asked me this about a couple years ago. Yes, perhaps yes. I actually filled out an application to be a writer in WWE, and they actually reviewed my resume, and so I popped for that a little bit. But no, I just wouldn't. It's too much. It's too much time consumption to be a writer for Raw, and being friends with Vince Russo, having 2 shows with him, I understand how much just intense time and just devotion to it that you would have to do, and I just do not have the time. I mean, I'm so thankful. I'm so blessed. I absolutely love my life. Like I love what I do. I'm a psychotherapist. I can't explain to you how much I love my job. I'm a college professor. I'm starting a college professor position, putting my curriculum together I'm going to be a professor at a Bible college. Great opportunity. Love the curriculum that I'm putting together. It's actually I'm actually teaching a cult psychology course there. Shout out to Trinity Seminary. I do this and get paid for it. I interview people I love. I interview wrestlers every week and get paid for it. And I mean, that's what I do. And I just really wouldn't take it away for anything. There's no way in the world that I would take that away to become a WWE booker. No way. And plus, my family's fantastic. I mean, my family dynamic is just amazing. I'm so blessed, and I don't want to take time away from my family engulf myself in WWE booking just for it to get vetoed. Like, are you kidding? Like, I'm such in a blessed state right now. I wouldn't take anything away in the whole wide world. I'm so content. And just for the sake of being a booker for WWE, just for the sake of it being psychologically damaging to come up with a good idea just for Vince McMahon to veto it at the last minute, and we keep doing that, rinse, repeat, being a scapegoat if this doesn't happen. No way. There's absolutely no way. Consultant, perhaps. A psychotherapist to the wrestlers, probably. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's a lot of money that's involved with that. I would love to be a psychotherapist to the wrestlers in WWE, as you know, get hired on as that, and do telehealth, you know, all day, giving therapy to the pro wrestlers. I'd do that. I mean, that would be my affiliation with WWE. Perhaps write for WWE.com, maybe, you know. But I'm like I said, I'm semi-retired from writing. I've written so much. I've written so many articles. I'm basically semi-retired from that. So I don't see myself picking that up back from a semi-full-time or part-time. I don't even see myself picking that back up. So if I would have any affiliation with the WWE, it would be a psychotherapist to, or a certified life coach. I'm a certified life coach too. So a life coach, psychotherapist to the talent, to give them, to make sure that their mental health and peace is stable as they're going through the travels and all the hustle and bustle and everything that's involved in the extensive process of being a WWE superstar. So I wouldn't mind telehealth sessions. And, you know, making my name out there and, you know, being flown to, you know, the control center or whatever, and doing, because Dr. Chris, you know Dr. Chris for being a coach to the, you know, WWE superstars, and me having a coaching, you know, show on the WWE network would be pretty cool. And then that leads for me to, you know, be featured on the pre-shows or something like that, doing predictions. That would be pretty cool. I'd be in that vein. That would be pretty cool because it wouldn't be like engulfed in WWE, but I would be more from a freelancey standpoint. Like I don't want to be submerged into WWE world, not at all. Did I get snow over the weekend? Yeah, it was a level 2, and you know, my family made the funniest video that in the world. It was hilarious. People were still talking about it. That we for some reason we just didn't look at our phones heading to church, and we or Facebook. We just for some reason just missed it, and our church was closed. Well, churches were closed. But our church was closed because it was a level 2 on Sunday morning, and closed all the churches. But yeah, we drove in there and it was just nothing. You know, we have a pretty big church in the big old parking lot. There was nothing there, and so we made we just made a video out of it, and just, you know, it's perspective. It's all about perspective. We just made it we just made a positive perspective on it, and just clowned ourselves for missing that email. So it was pretty funny. So I mean, but the snow, we got some snow Monday night. I think it got up to about 4 inches, 2 to 4 inches. But Sunday was a level 2, and it definitely wasn't a level 2. It was sunny today. Snowy last night. Yesterday was snowy, sunny today. It's supposed to be very cold but sunny tomorrow though. I know you wrote an article about Benoit. I always wanted to ask you, do you think the botched knee from Elijah Burke to Benoit's head during his headbutt in Benoit had anything to do with what happened? Sorry, it's not touchy. I would say that it maybe exacerbated it, perhaps, but it was at that point it was already, he was already CTE. Like I wrote an article about, I wrote multiple articles about Benoit, but I actually wrote a huge paper on Chris Benoit. So for my psychology degree. So yeah, it's pretty tough. Pretty tough. I may submit that paper somewhere to get it peer reviewed so I can make it public. I might do that. I tried it before, but the publishers that I went to wanted original stuff. So I'm just looking to I'm looking to submit to somewhere that doesn't want original. Like it's an original. They want it exclusive to them, and I don't want to do that. I already wrote the paper, and so I want to submit it. So I may do that. Yeah, you knew the Legends. Yeah. Yeah, so I heard that he's returned to do part-time. I mean, if it was me, it would be a babyface run. I mean, they always, for some reason, I always feel like they have to put Christian in the mid card. Christian's over, man. I'm a big fan. I'll give you a little Trump right now. That's what you get. That's all I get. That's all I get. I'm about to close up, actually. Let's real quick. Let's see here. Let's address a few of these. More great interaction today. PNP Nation. Just, answering Dr. Chris questions. Yeah, so I heard that they're keeping him off to give him a push on SmackDown. I'm not quite sure. I think I'd respond to this tweet. Definitely praying for it. Praying for you. Yeah, good question, Alonzo. Honestly, I would have been fine. Again, you just need somebody to have that really big feel. So if it was so when Braun came, I said, okay, Braun Drew could work. I just don't like heels chasing, leading into going to Mania. Of course, Big E would have been a cool choice, but he's still got a little bit of work to do. I'm looking at everybody who was in there. I'd have been okay with Shinsuke winning. He has some name coming behind him. Shinsuke winning again, and they doing it right this time. I definitely would have been cool with Lashley winning, although I'm not a big fan of heels chasing. But I definitely would have been fine with Lashley Drew and Lashley winning the title at Mania. Definitely be okay with that. Although, again, I don't like heels chasing the title at leading to Mania. I just don't like it. But I would have been fine with Lashley or Shinsuke. Big E would have been a choice. I would have loved for Big E to win it, but that haven't really built him strong enough yet. So he needs a little bit more time. They've really put him way down the ladder, way down the ladder. Because of his allegations too. So unfortunately, oops. So thoughts on fans. Okay, well, it's PG, so I know what you mean, but you didn't use it here, but you corrected it, but we'll just keep it here. We'll just keep the wrong version here. But praising every WWE does AK Goldberg in title matches, then Sting putting over your talent over. I don't think fans crap on AEW. Well, a lot of them don't. Some do, some don't. Yeah. See, okay. See, I don't see I don't see Miz going into Mania with the title. I think that just brings the title down so much. I would have been open if Miz cashed in and Shinsuke won a Shinsuke Miz match, but that takes the title down so much. I think Shinsuke going to Raw would be a good breakup from Cesaro because they're still like kind of friends and breaking up. One's heel, one's face now. Break them up, and I would have been open to Shinsuke versus Miz at Mania for the title. That would be a good way for Shinsuke to finally win the WWE Championship. I would have been open to that, and Miz keep the title from now or Elimination Chamber to Mania. I would have been open to that if Shinsuke won, but I don't want to see Edge Miz. No, I don't want to see Edge Miz. If Shinsuke would have won the Royal Rumble, I would have been much more open to see Shinsuke versus Miz and Shinsuke win. All right, I sent that. All right. Why didn't Elijah Burke get a push? He was talented and good on the mic too. Yeah, I mean, he was good. He was talented. He got a decent push. Thanks, Ricky. I appreciate it. I am old enough. Old enough. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's the bro counter is funny. That's an idea we came up with, and Vince. We asked Vince if he's okay with it, and he said yes. And so we do the bro counter. All right. Yeah, it's not the same anymore. Definitely not. Sometimes. My pleasure, man. Like I say every single time when I come on this show, I do it for you. Absolutely, my man. Appreciate you interacting. What I don't like about heels chasing the titles, it doesn't really allure or generate the excitement of the road to WrestleMania. It should be. I don't mind heels. When you think of chasing the title, you think of the heel having the title, the babyface chasing the title. That's where the entry comes in when it comes to storylines. That the babyface is chasing the title, the underdog type of feel to it. When the heels are chasing the title, that's actually kind of gaining some momentum, some support. No, that's not what a heel's about. You're dethroning the person who's dominating the spot, and the underdog babyface, the one who's gaining steam to get the crowd behind him to dethrone the grand poobah, the big monster on the top of the mountain. getting the courage, the courage and the support and the momentum to dethrone and knock off the big bad guy. That's what wrestling's all about. The bad guys getting the momentum to knock off the good guy. That's backwards. Oh yeah, absolutely. I would love to interview Sasha Banks. Sasha Bank, as Tony always say. Sasha Bank. I did hear that. You know, I don't, you know, I don't mind, man. You know, he's a legit, you know, wrestling fan. You know, it's a celebrity thing. I mean, that's happened plenty of times and better than Snooki. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't mind. I would put him in a tag match with Damian Priest against probably Miz and Morrison or something like that. I don't mind. Why not? Miz and Morrison are two people who definitely would be good to protect them. And Damian Priest, it would be a good spot for him at Mania. So if they did Damian Priest and Big Bunny against Bad Bunny against Miz and Morrison, sure, why not? I don't mind. I'll be open to a Miz forgot to set his alarm and has a cash-in story. Wait till the year is up. That would be funny. Yeah, I heard Edge Roman. You know, I was having discussions about this. I'd be open if Roman goes over. Definitely. No, I don't listen to secular rap. So I listen to Christian rap. I had no idea who it was. No clue. Before he came up and before he was promoted by WWE. You know, that would be interesting. Edge and Finn actually would be pretty interesting. I'd be more open to Edge versus Finn to put him over. There's some intrigue with that. You know, face versus face, I'm still not a big fan of that dynamic. I don't mind face versus face if the story's real good, but I don't know how you give a story with that. I'm not a big fan. But that would be interesting that definitely would be interesting for Edge to choose the NXT championship like Charlotte did. So yeah, you know, I think it's gonna be Edge Roman. I'm open to it if Roman goes over. There's no way that Edge goes over Roman. That would be so ridiculous. When I looked at that, I thought it was absolutely terrible. But I would be open to Edge turning heel and Drew going over Edge. I'd be open to that. That's the only way I'd be open to this whole Edge thing. If he turned heel, went against Drew, Drew goes over, and that makes Drew an even bigger star. There you go. I'd be more open to that. So, but no. Edge winning the championship, no. For him, no. Way too many people. Bobby Lashley should be champion before Edge. There's no way that Edge should be champion. Oh, no. No. I don't want it to happen. It shouldn't happen. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, this is Dr. Chris Featherstone. This is 462 episodes in the books. Until next week, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless. And always remember, I do it for you. I do it for you. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.